past, that they should try and provide those people that did such thing. Even up to today, we are still in a shock because we don't understand. Since Stephen ENUGU took over the government since February 2024, we have a lot of change in the market. Every year was peaceful. Even up to today, the whole place is peaceful. So we are now regretting losing him, not seeing him by our side.
So his death to me is very shock. Up till now, it's still affecting me. It's very shocked. I never believed I'm not going to see him again. I still believe I'm going to see him again. But I'm depending on the workaholic governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Simba, who have given the security agencies 48 hours to get the perpetrator to book. So we are hoping that they are going to bring those mischievous elements that took his life, that cut his life short. Stephen ENUGU is not going to come back to operate the main market based on his love for traders. The only fight I know he fights is when you are dealing with the poor people in the market, when you are introducing nonsense laws to extort money from common traders. He will say no to that. So within his short stays in office as the president of the market, Stephen have changed so many things in the market. Yes, in terms of security, he installed solar lights, he installed CCTV camera in the market. So we can go home and sleep knowing fully well that your goods are intact until the next day you will come for business activities. So we are missing him so much. The news is a shock and I never believed him. Only God in heaven that will tell us what exactly happened to him.
Stephen ENUGU was killed on Saturday evening around 7 p.m. in the Topland area of Enugu State, southeast Nigeria. In response, the Enugu State governor issued a directive to security agencies giving them 48 hours to apprehend the perpetrators with a deadline set for Tuesday 4 p.m., which has now expired. The incident has cast a shadow over the ongoing collaboration between the Enugu State government and security forces in their efforts to maintain a safe environment for residents and businesses in the state.
Enugu State government.
It has been a tale of wanton destruction of this community
and turning Enugu State into giving Enugu State a facelift. The people of
due to the recent judgments delivered by the Supreme Court of Nigeria, many states in the country have decided to conduct a local government election. Among them is let me start over.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, this is from The Correspondent, where we lay bare what goes into sourcing, packaging, and airing stories that satisfy your information need. And today's main story is on the just concluded local government election in Enugu State. And with me in the studio is our correspondent, Charles Piles. Charles, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so you were on ground to monitor yesterday's local government election. Can you give us a general assessment of the exercise from the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, local government elections, one would have thought that with the new government, this is the first local government elections that we're having under the new administration of Pitamba. We would have thought that something that would be a little bit different from what we are used to, but it does look like it's the same. It's the same, and this time around, maybe with a little bit of dimensions that are quite disturbing. Disturbing in the sense that there are two media organizations that were attacked in that particular elections. Our reporter for the Enugu East axis, they were attacked. It was just by the grace of God that they were saved from that situation. Even a sister station was also attacked. Also in that Enugu East axis, of course, the Enugu East axis is a place where you have Ababa and the like. So it was just a very, very chaotic situation. But beyond that, it was a local government elections that had a lot of apathy. The people didn't come out to cast their ballot. If not for anything, one would have said that it was maybe another day of sit at home. You know, it has this reminiscent sit at home attitude, you know, to it. Many people stayed at home, they didn't come out to vote. People, coupled the fact that even NSEC did not come out on time. There were a lot of issues with that particular elections. It didn't go by even my personal standard of checking whether election is actually on the right track. It didn't get to any standard at all. Whether we're talking about engagement of people to come out to vote, because our lens also caught up with people who were playing soccer, you know, on the empty street of ENUGU. Election materials arrived late. Even the election materials that are close, the ENUGU North local government election headquarters, that is not far from, you know, the ENUGU North local government area. You know, it was difficult for people to, you know, find the electoral umpires, you know, to come and conduct the elections. Elections as about 10:45, 11 o'clock, you know, elections haven't even started, you know, in parts of Enugu North and South where I covered. So it was just nothing, frankly, to hold on to say, oh, well, we have learned a thing or two from the previous way and manner that we usually have the elections. But it's just unfortunate how it has turned out. But again, largely you could say it was peaceful, even though we had some issues here and there regarding party stakeholders, especially at Ward 10, a primary school, having issues with result sheets. Some people got result sheets. Some electoral officers did not get result sheets. You know, it was a councillorship and chairmanship exactly. You know, election. So some of the electoral officers, or if you like, the presiding officers, were saying that they didn't have result sheets. The result sheets were not given to them to go to the field with. So you would think that, I mean, there was some hanky-panky that's been played, you know, that's why they did not give them result sheets. Some others also alleged that, you know, the result sheet given to them were actually fake. And so you know what that means if you're not given the result sheet, or the result sheet that is given to you is fake. It means that there's an original somewhere. So no matter what you have put out there, or maybe you have recorded, it will not count, because they're going to use the result sheets to basically count as the case may be. And where I personally lost confidence in the whole process is that there is any digital process involved.
Okay, there was
you know,
no
unlike,
use of IREF.
Unlike what with the national elections that INEC, you know, would tell you you're going to use a BVAS and then you transfer to an IREF where people could monitor what the elections look like or with numbers. So just like we're seeing in Edo State. Yes. For the local government elections in Enugu State, there's nothing digital about it. And so anybody can come and vote, manipulate the process, and anybody can write anything. Somebody can even thumbprint for you, you know, for some other person. So it's just, you know, a charade as far as I'm concerned.
Well, from what you're saying and what the electoral body said, one would really wrap his or her head around this, whether this one is true or this one is not true, because from what NSEC said, they said everything was in place, they were 100% ready and to ensure a free, fair and credible election. So you wouldn't even understand the depth of what we are discussing if we don't actually take a look at this report. So let's go to the report.
The voting didn't start by 8 because, you know, like New Haven now, we have a lot of polling units because we went to New Haven Primary School, the collection center. So they have to do this thing. Like now, I am 00, CS spot, I am 008. We have 007, 9, 10, down. And we have some up, like where they are repairing phones. So you have to collect your materials, then you wait, then you follow your police officer have to follow you.
It did actually start when it was supposed to start due to a lot of stuff that happens at the moving points, you get.
It's true that we didn't start early because of the distribution of the forms. People came earlier, some got tired, later they started coming out. So there's nothing you can do in this world to satisfy everybody.
Not come out, but if we went to the neighborhood to tell people to come around, so they started coming out. So they started voting, though they were not much.
Due to maybe one thing or the other, and today some other people used to go to their villages and cast their vote. So, but what I saw, I think it was okay for me.
When are you going to use it? A PDP carry member. Carry member. A carry member of PDP. It's very unsafe. Is it good? Is it good?
All right, welcome back. This is from the correspondent on Signature TV, where we are analyzing the efforts that went into reporting the just concluded ENUGU state local government elections. And with me in the studio is our correspondent, Charles Pius. Looking at the footages we just watched, there was tension in a particular ward where an INEC official was being accused of being a card-carrying member of PDP. How did that turn out?
Yeah, what you saw earlier was that like a heightened situation at Ward 10. That's the New Haven Primary School in ENUGU State. There was this argument about, first it was about the result sheets that electoral officers or the polling officers were not given result sheets to go to the field with. And then it dovetailed into somebody identifying another person who was wearing an INEC, an NSEC uniform, stating that he's a PDP card-carrying member. So it was a potpourri of issues at that particular place. If you talk about the preparedness of NSEC, I don't think they really did prepare very well, because the day before the election, that's on a Friday, I was at NSEC office, and I went round. Yes, notably there were stern-looking officials of the law enforcement agents around the metropolis, even in the office. What I noticed was, again, the materials that were being, transported from that office headquarters, to various local government areas. As at 6 p.m., as on Friday evening, the materials were still being distributed. So you can imagine places like Ogo, Nsoka, Udenu, all those far distances from the headquarters, how far really they would drive, into those locations. I also heard that the local government headquarters where these materials would have been driven to, some of the places don't even have security. So what they did is that as the boss takes the material and the personnel, the police officers join them in the bus, to go to the location. So I mean, the preparedness really is nothing to write home about, given what I saw.
All right. So were there any types of trends or patterns of events you observed at various polling units? Because we understand that there was this high level of apathy in terms of voter turnout to exercise their franchise.
Yeah, there's a high level of apathy, really. I don't know, it has been like that for a while, and it stemmed from the fact that many people think that the local government elections is usually a sham. I mean, the sham thing is they already think that the the ruling party has already written the results, so there's really no need. And it really hasn't happened before in the recent past where another political party wins a local government aside from the ruling party. I mean, across Nigeria, in fact. Just a few hours ago, I was looking at the Kwara State local government elections result, and the party in power swept all the results. Same thing has happened, across board. But it's just, I think it's just one state, that's Kaduna State, that has some sort of disparity. That's Kaduna South, where 4 local government area won under, Rufai, that's the last administration in Kaduna State. So you rarely see a political party at that level winning a particular local government, in the state where another party is actually holding sway. And part of that is what may have caused the high apathy. People knowing that even if they come to cast their vote for some other party, it will not largely go their way. And the experiences that they've also had with the general elections that happened last year, where many people think that, their will was subverted. And so because of that, coming out will be a waste of time for them.
Okay, there was this particular incident at Abakpa, I think in Ugbowa, by Tipa Park, I think, where someone was stabbed in the process of dragging. I understand that some party agents were not allowing other party agents. We didn't get the actual name of which party's agent was doing that, but we understand that in Abakpa, someone was stabbed and a phone was also destroyed. How did this issue, how was it addressed?
Yeah, I mean, we have a report regarding that. I think Belinda did a fantastic job with that report. I don't know if we have that particular report of hers where, it was quite a beehive of activity in Abakpa. When you go to vote, like one polling unit that was reported, when you go to vote and vote for another political party, you are told not to try it. First of all, you are warned not to even try to vote any other person.
Were there security personnel on ground?
There were security personnel around
and
there.
Nothing was done?
I mean, nothing was done, really. And so there was even a woman whom we had interviewed who told us how she was treated when she went to vote. First of all, they tell you, if you are not voting for a particular political party, don't even bother. Maybe when you're mistaken and vote for another political party, they tell you that they'll cancel this particular vote, they'll give you another one.
Were there the NSEC officials or some other people, external players? Because I want to understand, because according to what NSEC told us, they said everything was in place to ensure a free, fair and credible election. Then looking at the stories that are emanating from the polling units, one would wonder if they actually lived up to their responsibility as an electoral umpire.
Well, it's free and fair to the extent of the fact that they have been given instructions to basically stick to the guns, which is, return all of the political parties in power, because, I mean, there's really nothing to hold on to state categorically that there's anything that changes or they have changed with the way and manner they have always done it. It will continue that way, and this is part of the reasons why people don't come out to participate in local government elections. We had thought that because of what has happened in the past, because of the fact that we have had a very bad situation coming from our electoral system, that you would think that there will be some changes, and for the fact that there's also a new sheriff in town, a new governor in town who would allow things to flow. It does not look like it has changed one bit. It's going to be maybe another roller coaster of imposition, people just taking positions that are really that did practically not in any way qualified for. And one thing I also wanted to add regarding this thing about preparedness, earlier, the elections were billed for October 5th. And political parties were ready for the October 5th because there is a constitutional period that you are allowed, to do your campaigns. And that period was not given because the date for the voting actually changed from October 5th to September 21st. And so one wondered, why did you change the time? Even though that we know the election would have been held since February, but because of the fact that the matter was in court, some political parties went to court to, stop the NSEC from conducting the election. They shifted it to October 5th. So I was wondering why, they had to shift it backwards from October 5th to September 21st, which for me, made a mess of the whole situation.
Okay. One other thing we also want to look at is all these issues. The ENUGU State Governor, after all these issues you just mentioned, came out to say the exercise was the most peaceful in recent times. I don't know if he actually got the right information, but what do you make of that statement?
Yeah, largely you could say it was peaceful, except for those isolated issues here and there that I mentioned, the attack of 2 media organizations, ours involved, the fact that people didn't turn out for the election, and with the numbers that we saw, people actually decided to stay back because of maybe the experiences. And I mean, the fact also that the NSEC officials did not turn out for their duty on the day of the election early enough. So that also made people didn't come out, because there was also another person who complained that people came out in the morning and they didn't see the people as the officials of NSEC, and they went back, and some of them just trickled back to come back to see they are back, to vote, and some of them didn't bother coming back because, again, it wouldn't really make any sense trying to come back to vote when they already know that someone has been chosen. Okay.
We are yet to get an official statement from NSEC about the outcome of the elections. But meanwhile, while we wait, we understand that vote counting is currently going on in Edo State, and we hope to bring you update on that as soon as we get the information. All right, so looking at all these issues, it still boils down to the fact that we have not evolved looking at what happened in the general elections. So these are key issues which borders on if Nigeria is even willing to embrace democracy as a whole system of government for the nation. So the overall analysis of this exercise, what do you make of the whole?
It's so unfortunate, really. Every time or every year, you hope and feel that the elections as they come would be an improvement from what has been. But every year we see despondency, we see an outright backwardness. And that is largely exacerbated by those who are the drivers of our democracy. You can't really blame the people so much. I mean, if I have an experience of what has happened to me in the past, and based on that, I'm taking decisions about how to go about engaging with the system. You don't expect me, to take my time to come out for an election every year or every 2 or 4 years, and at the end of the day, my will is subverted, and nothing happens to those who subvert my will. In fact, those who are political drivers of these things are those who are on seat. So you don't expect, so much from the people. They are really handicapped to an extent. So you say, oh, reforms, and then you have reforms, and then what happened, like the 2023 elections up until this moment. INEC hasn't been able to tell us what happened in the presidential elections of the 2023 last year, where they said there were hitches. There was no hitch in the House of Reps elections. There was no hitch in the Senate elections, but just the presidential election. there were hitches. And up until this moment, they haven't explained to us what the hitch is. And the person who actually led that election is still having his seat. He's presiding over another election today.
Well, I think it all boils down to leadership problem, because from what we have known over the years is whoever wins FCT should be announced president. But the last general election, there were a lot of interpretations where some people said it was not mandatory for anyone who emerges winner in FCT to be announced the president. But all these issues are what make us who we are as Nigerian, because for me, as a person, I believe that it can only get better. But before we close for the segment, looking at Enugu State election, did you think, or do you think NSEC delivered their mandate to the people?
If I were to score them over 10, I would say a 2.5, frankly speaking. 2.5, because of the same issues that people have complained about in the past are the same things that are reoccurring. Materials, what is with materials? These guys have been trained earlier enough. I hope they even had time, because it does look like time actually choked them. The same thing that we complained about bringing materials early enough, that didn't happen. And so there were even some places, it's just that our cameras couldn't capture it, but some places that people actually thumb printed.
All right, so I think we have to stop at this point. Bringing news reports to life requires special skills, dedication, and attention to details. It is more about relaying information about stories that concerns the public and every individual out there, and that's the much we can take on this edition. Until we come your way next week, I remain Emmanuel Tewase. Bye for now.
While Enugu State government,
it has been a tale of wanton destruction of this community
and turning Enugu State into giving Enugu State a facelift. The people of
due to the recent judgment delivered by the Supreme Court of Nigeria, many states in the country have decided to conduct a local government election. Among them is let me start over.
Good morning this morning, and welcome again to New Day on Signature Television. And like we always say, with a new day comes new possibilities, new opportunities, and new ideas. And of course, we're still following up on the current by-elections and elections in Nigeria, Edo State, of course, Enugu, Kwara, and the rest of them. So stick around. My name is Chigichi Agorom, and of course with me in the studio is no other than Joshua himself.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joshua.
Good morning,
How
Joshua.
Are you?
I'm good.
Well, today is Sunday.
Well, we thank God it's Sunday. Thank God it's Sunday. So don't go anywhere. We have so much packed for your information. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we will start with our newspaper headlines and review. Stick with us.
This is still New Day on Signature Television. We're going to be going over to the newspaper headline right away. And first on our dailies is the Sunday Vanguard. And of course, below the mass, which is the most trending topic right now, is Edo poll, APC, PDP in tight race, LP struggles with the rider. We are leading comfortably, says APC. PDP fires back, respects people's will. Impressive turnout as voters defy rain. Akpata loses polling units to Igodalo. Obaseke, Ogi wins units. Oshomole shows might in Estaco. Beavers malfunction in Shuaibu units. Police arrest suspected vote buyers. Thugs with gun.
And all right, above the Sunday Vanguard mass, 3 stories. My people in Piman are fighting me because of dollars. That'll be found on page 1, and that's coming from Preeti Okafor, president of Piman. TB Joshua's widow, 4 others struggle to keep massive crowds of late husbands' mega churches on page 26. And 2027 permutations split PDP governors. The story we found on page 7 of the Sunday Vanguard.
And on loot, we have breakthrough in sickle cell treatment. You can find this on the page 24.
And finally, on Sunday Vanguard, intrigues, power play that led to ouster as CBN governor in 2013, Kano monarch, on page 5.
And moving over to the nation, just above the mass, we have Tinubu celebrates wife's 64th birthday with heartfelt tribute, says you are my rock, confident, greatest supporter. Insight, bitter reality of Nigerians' pension trap. We have the rider, starvation deaths grip elderly retirees amid economic hardship. A labyrinth of broken promises leaves pensioners in despair.
Below the Sunday Nation's mast, on Edo poll, Okwebolo, Igodalo in tight race with riders that say LP's Apata loses poll unit to PDP candidate. INEC posts over 95% of results on portal. On APC, disregard fake election results in circulation, and police EFCC arrests suspected vote buyers.
We have Daniel Nobis knocks out Anthony Joshua in London.
Oh.
I know. It's
feel
not
so
my Joshua.
bad.
It's not my Joshua.
My Joshua. All right, fine.
Okay. Okay.
Finally, on Nation, police nab serial rapist who lures victims through dating app.
And moving over to the Sunday Punch, just above the mass, we have most filling station yet to get Dangote petrol, says Arkman. You can find this on page 9. How the elderly PWDs brave downpour to cast votes in Edo.
Very brave. All right, below the Sunday Punch, on Edo poll, Igodalo Kwebolo in tight race as INEC uploads results with riders that say APC eyes lead in Edo North, PDP in South, Akpata loses polling unit, Oshomole Igodalo trade words over vote buying.
And Joshua suffers devastating second KO loss.
Oh.
Again?
Oh. Women should not let career success damage family life, coming from a non-Nigerian, guess she has seen it all. And then DHQ denies detaining naval rating for 6 years. How celebs joined I Am Chosen trend.
And we have Behind the Glamour, Lagos fashion show hit by rape, extortion allegations. You can find this on the page 24 and 26. Local condom production begins soon, says NACA DG. And finally, we have voter apathy, slow start, Makwara, Imo, Enugu, and local government polls.
And we move over to the Sunday Times, and just below the mass, still on Edo, 2024, PDP, APC in tight race for government house as LP drops off, with riders that say CSOs bemoan vote buying with bread, 5,000 naira. I am not satisfied with the process, coming from Iko Jalo.
I am a chosen. Church explains controversial testimonies after social media ripples.
All right, still on Sunday Times, angst trails KREs continued to stay in office amid scarcity and high cost of fuel.
Kogi's governor's lodge invasion. Youth group seeks resignation of EFCC boss.
Adesua Ogiozi, pathetic story of innocent Nigerian tycoon hounded for 3 years by FBI.
And moving over to the Sunday Tribune, we have Edo decides. New governor emerges today. Page 4 and 5 for the rider. INEC uploads results to IREV portal. PDP APC candidates boast of victory.
Stories right above the masts. Hope rises for sickle cell sufferers as Luth Foundation treat patients with bone marrow transplant. Coming from Sunday Tribune on page 7, Adeleke announces salary increase for teaching, non-teaching staff of Uni Osun, still on page 7 of Sunday Tribune.
Igbo's silence, not affirmation of support for Tinubu's government, says ABGA BOT chairman.
And military arrests more gun runners in Plateau State. That will be found on page 5.
The World Health Organization donates cholera malnutrition treatment kits to Borno flood victims, with the rider Pan-Nigerian Parliament declares support for them.
And finally, on the Sunday Tribune, large turnout as local government polls hold in 4 states, with riders that say APC assures of victory in Kwara. PDP calls for reschedule of poll. Late arrival of materials disrupts process in Imo, and H3 polls in Sokoto and ENUGU.
And moving over to the Sunday Independent, we have just above the mast, POS operators registration low after extension of deadline, with the riders, bad network, financial constraint, blamed for poor compliance. And on page 5, we have Accord Party State Chairman gets appointment in Makinde's government. And finally, above the mast, we have Group Advocate transparent appointments of judges for Edo-Ondo election petitions.
Just below the mast of the Sunday Independent, vote buying widespread amid tight security in historic Edo Guba poll, with riders that say APC, PDP neck and neck in 97.63% uploaded votes by midnight. Yaga Africa, other CSOs, Lord EFCC security agents' performance.
Tinubu's government sliding into dictatorship, says the analyst, with the rider insists authoritarianism is staring Nigerians in the face, cites intimidation of unionists, activists with arrest detention. You can find this on page 4.
All right, on page 3 of the Sunday Independent, palliative distribution chaotic as Abuja residents storm collection centers, with rider that says stakeholders slam federal government over cumbersome payment process. And finally, on the Sunday Independent, IGI deductions, Kayamo to meet aviation agencies and union leaders.
Well, that is that on the newspaper headline. We'll be moving over to the newspaper review. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. This is still New Day on Signature Television. Do not forget to go to all of our social media platforms. Like, share, subscribe. Of course, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. So we do expect your comments, perspective, and questions. With us in the studio is Lawrence. Lawrence, good morning. Lawrence is going to be joining us for the newspaper review today.
Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning.
You look...
You look what?
You look nice.
Don't patronize me.
No.
Oh, you look like the law.
Yes, the law.
Good morning.
Well, of course, in all of the newspaper today, we all have seen the Edo Guba election. I mean, in Sunday Independence, APC, PDP neck and neck in 97.63% uploaded votes by midnight. What do you have to say about the election?
It's an interesting election. You know that we believe that in off-cycle elections that INEC has
should have what it takes to make it work fine. Because they are not handling all the states of the three at the same time, just one state yesterday. So they have no reason not to get it right. So we are looking forward to the outcome. We've not seen the results yet. Like from what we read out now, it's like PDP and APC are topping the charts. Yes, are in the lead. And well, surprisingly, Labour Party appears to be fizzling out. Yes. One can say that the Obi factor is not quite manifest now because Obi is not on the ballot. I mean, the presidency is not on the ballot. So maybe that is having an impact on Akpata, who is their party flag bearer. But let's keep our fingers crossed and wait for the outcome eventually. You know,
yesterday when we were discussing this, we were saying that before now, it used to be a two-horse race, APC, PDP, APC, PDP. Yeah. And then it was a breath of fresh air when LP joined the race and we were happy, yes. But some netizens are saying, it seems as though LP just came to, break or share the votes of PDP. I mean, what are your thoughts? Because from the look of things, it's just like you also alluded, LP's fizzling out. Seems as if
I am quoting what I saw on the paper. Yes, I wish the results are not yet out. But to come third out of 18 parties, I mean, means that he's into business as well. Yes. FPCD, I don't think that there are any fights in this fight. They give a good account of themselves. Until the final tallies are released, anything can still happen. But I think that I won't write off Labour Party having come third in the race. And there are factors. APC is in power at the federal level. These things have influence. PDP is in power in those states that these things have influence. Labour Party is coming from nowhere. So it's a good fight that they have put up. Yes. I don't want us to write them off. I don't think so. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the chairmanship, the local government elections in Enugu State, because it's as if all eyes are on Edo State. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening here in Enugu. So the chairman of NSEC alluded to the fact that materials would leave their office as of Friday, leading to the Saturday elections. But we saw what happened from reports that came in that didn't really happen. What are your thoughts on that? What could you attribute it to? Negligence, oversight? What really happened?
Let me start by giving kudos to our team that went to the field yesterday. They did marvelous work. They were on the ground several places and they were bringing us on the stop report. Yes. I think that Signature TV did very well on that election coverage. Having said that, reports we got indicate that the late commencement in virtually every place, urban centers, rural areas and so on, the thing commenced very, very late. And I don't think it is a thing to clap for anybody. We have an election we conduct once in 2 years or once in 4 years, as the case may be, and you got it wrong. I mean, we reports had that some people got to the station and polling stations, waited for some time. I had to go. Something didn't even come out at all because of various factors. So I don't think that NSEC did well at all. They didn't do well in that election. And we had reports of what do you call it, voter intimidation. We had reports of violence in certain places. We had reports of people playing football in other places. So, I mean, the whole gamut of things that played out in that election. Personally, I wasn't impressed with how it turned out. I wasn't impressed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What about the security agencies? We've talked about a voter party. We've talked about the NSEC and their performance. Let's touch a little bit on security.
Again, report that we got in some places is like the security agencies, they were compromised in some places. There were places that were compromised in the sense that I have seen several online videos where people were doing mass thumbprinting. Wow. I have seen that circulating. If they are real.
But then it needs to be fact-checked.
Of course, maybe we'll do that later.
Yes.
Yeah. But then, what I'm saying is that there are places that the policemen were said to have looked the other side while the thing was happening. If that is the case, it's not good enough. the security agency must know that they should belong to Nigerians. They are paid by Nigerians. They are paid by the taxpayers' money, and they should protect the interests of Nigerians at all times. Not any party, not any individual, no matter how placed the person may be. So that's I haven't heard about that of any deaths anywhere, but I think that there were violence in pockets of polling stations. Yes.
Okay, so now let's move over to something else, which is a broader coverage of the East. Igbo silent not affirmation of support for Tinubu's government, and this is of course from the ABGA Board of Trustee Chairman, Chekwa Zokore. What's your take on this?
I haven't seen a report, but he's implying that Igbo silence on what?
On Tinubu's government.
Silence is not always consent. It is said, at times said silence is consent. Silence is not always consent. Take the last protest, for instance. You know that the End Hunger protest, Energy Congress, the Southeast were out of it completely. It does not mean that they are supporting the president.
Were they truly out of it, or they were just indifferent?
They didn't participate.
They didn't participate.
So how do you define that non-participation? That's where we're talking about.
Passive aggression.
Yeah, I don't know. So the point is that I can decide, just like this election, someone can say, let me stay at home. What are they even? I don't want to participate. That does not mean you approve of the person who wins eventually. You are just saying that you are frustrated, you are nonchalant. So if the Southeast is silent, they are silent because they feel that the notes they have made over the years have not been responded to. That is one leg of it. They can also say they are silent. It's also a way of saying, whatever you see, you take it. We warned you. That's what I've read a lot of that.
Sometimes silence can actually speak louder than words.
Yeah, there can be silence can be more noisy than noise. Yeah. So I think that's my take on that, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow. But can you draw any analogy between the aloofness of the Igbos and the fact that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is still incarcerated? Because there's been calls across different Igbo fora to release him. Do you think it is actually a cogent reason why the Igbos are actually aloof when it comes to, governance?
I don't think that if the usage of that word aloof does not belong to the Igbos, it's not that word. I don't think it's a proper expression.
What should be the proper expression?
Proper expression. Well, let us not go into defining it, but it can be interpreted in many ways, but they are not aloof.
Okay.
They are participants in what is happening. They can participate, like we say, noise can be. Silence can be noisy. Can be quite, devastating. So, talking about Nnamdi Kanu, you know that there are certain things certain opportunities that will come for somebody to make to shine. For instance, when the our president came into power, knowing his background as a Democrat, President Bola Tinubu fought as a Neteko chieftain in those days. He was one of those who battled the military and to enthrone a democratic government. And you are not president of a democratic government. And this is somebody who has severally been acquitted by the courts, set free by the courts, and all that. And he's still in incarceration. The first thing he would have done is to come and say, yes, let me obey this court, and this court, and set him free. He's still. Somebody will say, he's granted bail, he remains there, and you take the case under court, he's granted, I'm back and forth. It is not fair to our democracy, it is not fair to our judiciary, it's not fair to independence of the judiciary, and so on and so forth. So even if you cannot lean on court judgments to set him free, you have the power of clemency. You can grant him clemency, prerogative of mercy, and set him free. Nobody will query you for that. It is within the power of the president. So, and people have said, if you do this, there will be absolute peace in the Southeast. If you do this, killings and whatever will stop. And you've not heeded to it. What are you waiting for to do it? What else will you do for the Southeast? And they will say, this is what I have given to you. So I join other Nigerians in saying, please set this man free and let us have absolute peace in the country. And then the country moves on.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, he is not the only person that has been charged with whatever he was charged for. And I mean, why is he the only person that is there?
All right, so let's still go back to the Edo elections, talking about transmission of results.
Yeah.
What are some of the reports that you have seen, or something that is worth talking about based on transmission? Has it been smooth, or has there been any discrepancy of any sort concerning, transmission of results from IREV?
What what I heard is that by midnight or so, the passenger has gone on IREV.
Yes.
Until we see what is on IREV, let us not jump the gun. You know that even by law, we are not supposed to announce the results until it is officially certified
by returning officers.
Yeah. So we are waiting. I'm sure the coalition will start today and we'll begin to see step by step. It is when what they have transmitted to us does not tally with what is on the IREV, like happened in the 2023. That's why we begin to raise eyebrows. But let us hope that the IREV will come to play this time around. At least the result will not released at midnight. I hope the result will come out during the day. Yes. So let's hope that eventually we'll get what will represent what people voted in the election.
Okay, so I know one of the major things this government of this time likes to do is palliatives. We like to share palliatives very well. So palliative distribution, chaotic as Abuja residents, strong collection centers, and stakeholders slam federal government over cumbersome payments process. What's your take on these palliatives that has been our go-to backup plan?
From day one, I have not supported anything called palliatives. If you want to make the country better, if you want to meet the needs of citizens, address the fundamental economic indices that will make things better. It's like giving somebody fish. Give me fish, I'll eat. Tomorrow I'll come back for fish. You have not solved my problem. That is not how to solve economic problems of the country. The challenge is we have sound brains in this country. We have economic experts in this country. We are not yet addressing our problems. Giving out palliatives or even giving handouts, going to markets to share 15,000 naira or 10,000 naira, doesn't solve any problem. At most, it will solve the day's hunger need. For that day, go to the market today with 10,000 naira and tell me what you come back with. You will shed tears. Did somebody steal my money? Was there a pickpocket that came around my way? So it is not a solution to the problem. There should be fundamental change in our governance structure. Okay, people have been talking about cost of governance. Is it being cut? So what are we sharing palliatives for? Is that a solution to the problem? It is not. So it is not, it's a makeshift arrangement, if you ask me, that does not even change anything. Let them begin to say, okay, for how long have we been talking about up till now? The minimum wage implementation, they're still saying from February, from July, and so on and so forth. And even the quantum of knowledge does not even matter. What matters is what am I able to buy with that money in the market?
Yes.
What
is the agricultural policy of this government? Is there any agricultural revolution going on that people will, by next year will see massive harvest and then bumper harvest? Is there anyone that you can talk about around you? So these are, sharing money does not solve anybody's problem if that money will not buy me anything in the market.
You know, in their defense, the government will always say that they have all these policies in place and that we'll see the results begin to yield in the long run. I mean, these are the things we can do to alleviate some of the, policies, some of the backlash that is coming from those policies. So what are your thoughts? Because
all this money you're sharing out, this money you're sharing out, the one I give to you, give to Joshua.
Did you though?
Bring amass it together and go into, for instance, now, people have been talking about fuel. The most excruciating thing in this country is the issue of fuel. Fuel, electricity tariff. These are the things that if you want to give people relief, reduce the tariff on electricity. Reduce the price of fuel. It will impact on every human being.
Across every sector.
Across every sector. Because these things are happening because of the transport fare. Some people have dropped their cars now. Say, where is your car? I don't have a car. Where is your car? Why? Because they can't take your children to school. People who used to do school wrong, you see them dragging their children on the road, and then, because they cannot afford fuel. So if this money that you're sharing out as palliatives, you bring it into, use it to subsidize fuel, use to subsidize electricity, every human being will feel the impact. Because have you collected any palliative? Have you
seen anybody?
So it cannot go around. But anything you do on transport goes around every human being in the country. These are simple things that you can.
Talking about subsidizing fuel, there was a time we had this discussion here. You're talking about gathering the money, the funds for the palliative and using it to subsidize. So we had this discussion and we said, isn't it possible to gather funds or revenue from byproducts of crude and use the revenue to subsidize fuel? What are your thoughts?
You talk about byproduct when you refine in the country. We have
a refinery, a private refinery.
That refinery does not belong to you. It's a private refinery. It is when you refurbish your own refinery, the ones we have in Kaduna, Warri, Kaduna, Port Harcourt. When you refurbish them, and they begin to produce fuel, refined fuel, then you cannot talk about the byproducts. Dangote is not accountable to you about the byproduct of his own fuel refining. It is when you refine within your own. So people have been calling, government should not abandon these refineries because Dangote came on board. Dangote is a private businessman. Can decide to do whatever he wants with it. Can decide to fix his fuel at 2,000 naira. You can't do anything.
But NNPC has not even allowed him to fix his.
But even when they allow him, they have not allowed him. And even when they allow him, he's prepared to. But if, for instance, these refineries, if they are working, then there will be competition between Dangote and our own refineries. So who will benefit? The masses will benefit. So we don't talk about byproduct or not byproduct. When are you going to go to Singapore, wherever they refine and collect the byproduct from? It's exported already as crude.
So how do you now relate
so
this?
That's what we're denying ourselves. Actually, it's not just the byproduct. The job you create. Okay, let's find out how many people are going to be employed by Dangote now. I imagine that these other refineries are producing. You have reduced crime. You have increased productivity. You have increased by creating jobs. You are reducing unemployment. So you're reducing crime.
And of
because
course,
those who are not
GDP,
employed. Of course, these are the larger picture. So at times I don't know whether I think we are yet lucky. We are still unlucky to have. We haven't gotten people who will follow the affairs of this country the way it should go. That's just our problem. Leadership.
Yeah, speaking of leadership, analysts came out to say that Tinubu's government is sliding into dictatorship. How true is it?
One fact will lend credence to that. Do you know what thing that have actually made me to begin to raise eyebrows about this present administration? The last protest we had in this country, how many points were raised by those who protested? Has anyone been arrested? And you are supposed to be a Democrat. What is democracy? Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. People have spoken. Okay, this is what we want. Please do this, do this. Did he do any? What you are now doing, you are trying them. Some are still clamped down
for treason.
For treason.
Bail
for 10 million each.
What our
people that are protesting for hunger.
What is captured in our constitution that people are right to protest is a fundamental human right of every citizen, and that's what they have done. They've not carried and they've not shot anybody. They've not done anything that is untoward. Granted that there were a few pockets of criminality in the process, but fundamentally, people have told you. At the point they said they were faceless, they came out. We are the people who are organizing it too. This is what we are organizing it to. Address these issues. Has he addressed any? So the worst is that you are trying those people who told you, oh God, we are suffering, we are hungry, we are dying, come and assist us. All you do is to send them to jail and begin to try them. It's not fair. What can be more despotic than that? It's not a mark of democracy. It's not a mark of a Democrat at all. And look at the person who is doing that. The person that was once running out of the military. now we are in a civilian administration, and we are having a worse dictatorship than we had during the military. It's not fair. It's not cool.
All right, still on vote buying. Sunday Independent rather says vote buying widespread amidst tight security in historic Edo Guba poll. What are your thoughts?
My thought is still disturbing because you are younger. You belong to the younger generation. we witnessed a period when ballot boxes were being snatched. They should just be voting and voting. At the end of it, somebody just come and snatch a ballot box, go to an unknown place and begin to count it. So they think that the new process in the electoral process has taken care of that. The new modus operandi now is vote buying. So, which means Nigerian politicians have defied solution. They have defied.
They've evolved.
They evolve every day. So the latest infraction now is to buy voters or to give voters money to bribe voters. It's quite disturbing as a matter of, because we thought that with these beavers and what do you call it, all these technology that were coming.
We saw that at the last election.
Yes. So it is now manifesting. So the challenge is for the security agencies, because what these things happens when they look the other way when it's happening. They can't tell me that they don't see people who are doing that. Okay, so they have to opt again. EFCC, ICPC, police, DSS. They must up their game.
Is it not?
That is now the new problem we have with the electoral process.
But is it not a simple demand and supply thing? If there's a demand for vote selling, of course there will be supply with vote buying, something like that. So what is the role of the electorate?
Is it the buying that is?
It's a vicious circle. You know that during the last election, there was a lot of awareness. Don't sell your votes. We didn't have much of that, in this election. So what is the role of the voter? What's the role of civil society to ensure that even if someone approaches you and you're like, no, I'm not going to sell my vote.
Can I tell you one thing?
Yes.
The Nigerians are conquered people, just like people are saying hunger, starvation. Some people you are talking about palliative. It's another form of palliative. People are hungry. If people are that's why I say give your children sound education. There's a level you get in society, there are things you cannot partake in again. It is because of hunger that people can even be easily bought or be easily bribed. If I'm sure of my, 3 square meals a day, and I'm sure that even if I don't get money, I will eat. If you give me money to buy my vote, I will say, away with that. But if that is the only money I have seen in the past few days, by all means, I will collect and eat, at least for that hour. So these things are a reflection of hunger in the country, hardship in the country, hardship in the land.
Do you think this hardship is man-made to keep some people conquered?
I said that before. That is what it is. That is why Nigeria, the political class will not want to.
This is sabotage.
Call it anything. It will answer. The leaders are not fair to this country, are not fair on Nigeria and the masses. So if that shows you that you are a conquered person. Who are you? You are worth 5,000 naira, you are worth 3,000 naira. You are worth 3,000 naira, and I will command you to do what you want to do. It's unfortunate.
Okay, so let's move a little bit from this sad truth and go to a little bit of something that can brighten up the day. Lagos University Teaching Hospital had gotten a breakthrough in sickle cell treatment. I mean, it's good for us, it's good for the SS. So how do you think? What do you think?
It's good news. It's good news, and many more can happen. If you go to our private hospitals, if you go to hospitals in this country, you have quite some brains that can do anything. But if you get into that place, I had a friend who was who had some kidney issues a while ago in one of the teaching hospitals, one of the hospitals around. You know that most of them, the guy had to leave the place and start coming to ENUGU to look for a private clinic where he's going to do that, where he's supposed to do it in a hospital owned by government. So what I'm trying to say is that with more funding, you will get more of these breakthroughs. We know about the Japan syndrome. You know that. How many medical doctors are even in the hospital?
I am telling
you. So I welcome that. It's good news. But I'm sure many small things will happen if we're able to equip these hospitals adequately. We're able to give incentives to how many times have doctors gone on strike? How many times have medical doctors gone on strike this year?
Yeah.
I mean, that shows you. And each time they are on strike, people are dying. So we can have record more breakthroughs.
Permit me to even cut in, because it's true that hospitals, especially teaching hospitals, they need more funding.
Yes.
But from what I'm reading, I guess you got this from Sunday Tribune. It says hope rises for sickle cell sufferers as Luth and Foundation treat patients with bone marrow transplant. This is a partnership.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the teaching hospital. There was an external organization that came in. I tell you, it's not about just putting funds, because you put those funds there, it will be misappropriated.
Good.
You understand? So I'm thinking in my mind, if more partnerships can come and approach a bottom-up, model, and cut away all this office bureaucracy and corruption, then things will move. But if you say just give them money, I don't think we'll get the needed outcome.
That takes me to another factor: corruption. Yes. Should corruption be allowed to continue in this country? Should it be our pattern of life, so that one want to solve a problem?
Of course, it shouldn't. But
I'm promising you go and get partnership solve problem of corruption. It should be addressed if it exists. So partnership is now a solution to corruption. It is not. The corruption should be addressed, and that's why even this. Let me not be too. That's why I have not seen any articulated plan or policy to fight corruption in this country.
But while corruption subsists, we should find ways of, navigating.
Don't navigate. It is something you kill and wipe away.
It's a long-term process.
We start from Monday. Has it started? Is there any policy on corruption, against corruption in this country?
Is there light at the end of the tunnel that is ever going to start?
Has it started?
It hasn't. But
let it start then.
As it succeeds, what do we do? Should we just recline to?
Because that's what we are suffering today. Look at the election going on. Yeah, this is not corruption. People share the money. It's corruption, and we want it to subsist. It becomes the system of this country. Man, there should be a way of beginning to solve it one way or the other.
Let's even speak about corruption, and let's go to the EFCC boss. I mean, Kogi's governor lodged invasion, youth group seeks resignation of EFCC boss. I want to understand if this is in line to the fact that Yaya Bello has been accused of 80.2 billion. And you know, of course, the sitting governor was directly put in place by Yaya Bello. So, handpicked, you can use the word. So what was your take on this as well?
It's the same. People are protesting. People want the EFCC boss to resign. Yes. So that for touching their man, for asking the Yaya Bello to come and account for the money he looted in the state. The same people, the same beneficiaries of that, the same victims of that looting. They are the victims of that looting, because that money should have been used to solve their problem, to develop Kogi, create employment for them, put facilities, water, electricity, and so on and so on. If you traverse Kogi, if you have traveled to,
I have actually.
The entire length and breadth, the entire length of breadth of Kogi is in a mess, and that amount of money flew away from that state. And what you see is that's what you mentioned, the conquered people. The Indians are conquered, and what the only thing they can do is to come and begin to call for EFCC man to. So they should allow the Yaya Bello to stay more. Maybe the new governor will now say, oh, Yaya Bello has stolen and the youth are supporting him. Maybe let me stay my own. They will also line behind me when EFCC calls me. This is, I mean, I don't understand.
But there was some kind of negligence or complacency on the part of EFCC, because Yaya Bello at a point visited the EFCC office, stayed there for hours for reasons best known to them. He was never apprehended. He was never arrested, and he was allowed to go.
You are not fit to EFCC.
EFCC even came out to say that he was never in their custody.
So what do we believe? No, this is what was in the news.
Do you know?
I wasn't the one that fabricated it. It was in the news.
Then let's rewind back.
Okay.
To when EFCC went to his house.
Yes.
And when he was smuggled out by the
sitting
governor.
So does it show that the EFCC is not
that is the disparity.
He's still in. Yaya Bello will see face trial in this country. If not today, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, next week, he will go to face trial. He's not running to anywhere. If they let all the youths in Kogi State come out and lie on the street, we should begin to get things right. I don't think that EFCC is complacent in this matter as at now. They are just, I think they are taking their time. Let's not teach them. Let's not teach them their job. They're just, I think they're just methodical in how they're approaching the guy. Yeah.
Okay. There's also been calls for Kyari, the NNPCL guy, to resign or be taken out of office, but that of course has not happened.
Let me not canvass for anybody to lose his job.
Yes.
But all is not well with our oil sector. We've talked about, up till now, how much is produced, consumed in Nigeria every day in terms of oil and gas and so on. What has everyone account for it? What is wrong with our, how many times have they said they will
turnaround maintenance
will end? They give several days. Kaduna will start, Port Harcourt will start, Warri will start. So,
they gave us September for Port Harcourt.
Does it show that the man knows what he's doing? Does it show the seriousness? So I'm not. So
who or what is protecting him?
Maybe the Minister of Petroleum Resources.
I like that you did not call a name, you called the position.
Yes. Maybe they know what they're doing. But at what point should the interests of Nigerians come to play in all these things? At what point would they say, let's do this for the sake of Nigerians? Let's do this for the sake of Nigerians. Somebody single-handedly has established a refinery, and we have 4 wasting. Do you know that people who are working there are still being paid salaries as of today? Are we? Those who are working in all those 4 refineries, they are still earning salaries as of today. In a moribund establishment that is fetching nothing. So you have not stopped them. They are still working, they are still earning salaries.
For a refinery that's not working.
That is not working. They're
still managing director.
So these are things that, and you think that...
And this goes against any law that I know, any law of production or prosperity that I know.
Okay.
You take from a system you don't put back into?
Okay, how many billion has gone into those refineries?
Over the years.
Over the years. I'm talking about billions, not naira. Billions. And up to today, not a liter is coming out of any of them. In a country of ours.
My goodness.
Thank you very much, Lo. You know, you have been so detailed and passionate about this review, and we really appreciate you for coming.
It's our country. We are all in it.
We are all in it.
We are all in it.
Yeah. We do hope for a change, of course. We do hope for a change. And that has been the newspaper headline and review with Lawrence. He has been in the studio with us to discuss this.
You're afraid of calling the one name.
I'm trying my best.
We'll get him an Igbo wife.
Well, please, I will be grateful. Get me an Igbo wife. Thank you very much.
Hands off, hands off.
No, hands on deck.
All right.
So we'll go on a very short break. When we come back, we have much more lined up for you. See you after this.
Thank you.
You go to some of our public institutions, because you want to, the tuition is free, the laboratories are almost empty. So when you pay money, just like an investor, when you pay, you ask for value. When you see buses in the nation's capital, buses are designed to take 50 passengers. Sometimes you have about 110, 120. That's because they are highly subsidized and free. For me, subsidy, yes, but free, highly no. It shouldn't be free. And this is the only way to be honest, because we're preaching about sustainability. If it is free, we can't sustain it.
If masses are going to be paid, it has to be in a subsidized amount of money. Let the government subsidize it, because major thing we are facing now is the problem of transportation, the high cost of transportation. All of us move from one place to the other, goods and services move from one place to the other, but when the cost for transporting goods and services to where it is needed is highly expensive, it will affect the price of goods and service itself.
Let Innocent produce buses for Nigeria, electric buses, and let them be carrying people all over. 100 naira. Nigerians can afford it. 100 naira. Even if from here to Gawalada, 100 naira. From Ketu in Lagos to Victoria Island, 100 naira. If they do that, the buses, the distance will reduce. You understand me? You set up a charging point where they can go and charge their buses. Like in Lagos now, they have a depot for the buses. Let them go there and charge the buses and be carrying people 100 naira. It will reduce the economy.
A state like Ebonyi State budgeted 68 million to buy SUVs for their state House of Rep members. So if that can be budgeted, state like Benue, Governor Ilya was saying the budget for House of Rep members to acquire a car is 60 million. That means Nigeria is wealthy. I think transportation can be made free, but I don't think these people that are making money from this would like to stop right now. The transport sector is a huge sector of the economy, but then the everyday increase in prices, remember, has not made people to be happy about the transport sector.
Coincidentally, if the governor can instruct the director or the manager of any transport state corporation that any citizen, not only even their citizen, any person that come to their office that are looking for assistance of the transportation from their state to another state, or interstate or intrastate, they should be giving them, consider them free or complimentary board ride of transportation from point A to point B. The lower people, the less privileged, the state government should make it, and students, the old people, they should make it free to them.
Really affecting. Like if you can see people moving over there, everybody are trekking, they cannot enter transport because of the cost of transport and all that. People go a long distance, 1 mile, 2 mile trekking because of no money. And not only that, a lot of criminal and all that. I know I have lost out to 4 phone where I was trying to see how I can get a cheaper car, because where I want to go, then charge me a lot to take me to that place. The first I lost my phone, second time I lost my phone. And it's because of hungry, that is why those boys increase in robbery.
Abuja is not working very effectively. You know. Then the government should look into it and provide more. And they can go to countries, other countries, developed countries, go there and get there. They know what to do, and they bring it down the price. And they also consider the pass also, because the former one, the urban mass, the one, many of them packed now in the garage. They are not working. And they ask, this one, they say, this one has a small issue, this one has a small issue. Which day are they going to fix it? So they will government need to sit up to put these things in order.
That is Voices from the Streets, where people express their opinion about different policies of the government. From the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Nasiru Usman, reporting for Signature TV.
Rebound is up next with our correspondent Godwin Sunday. Do stay tuned.
A very good morning to you once again and welcome to Rebound. I am Godwin Sunday. Now on Monday we had Prince ENUGU who spoke to us on road safety accident technologies, especially as it borders on Nigeria. Take a listen.
Major cause of road accident is texting and driving. That is the leading cause right now within the city and on the highway. People text while they drive. The introduction of mobile phones into the society has increased, the issue of road accident. This might come as a surprise to many, but that is the real thing. That is the point. Especially among women, the car is automatic. So when you sit, you don't press anything, you don't change the gear, you don't do nothing. You just press your accelerator and the car moves. And they feel it's okay, and they pick up their phones and begin to text and do all manner of things while they drive. That is the first factor. Then we have others like overspeeding. People overspeed, on the highways, and without taking into consideration the consequences of overspeeding. Others is double overtaking. You see another car overtaking, and you are following that car. You are not sure whether the car has observed and checked properly before it overtakes. You are following. That is where you see multiple accidents. You see 2, 3 cars overtaking, then you just queue up, you follow them, maybe it's a truck. And before you get out of that lane where the truck or 2, 3 truck covers, other vehicles are coming, and there's no other way you can escape. So you see those stuff there. Now, apart from the infrastructure issues, talking about the roads and other issues that has to do with the government, putting all those in place, the road users, are mostly, involved, or let me say, are more concerned about these issues of, road accident. The others has to do with, let me say, lack of compliance with the road safety regulations, rules and regulations. Even if an airplane is moving, there are rules and regulations you need to, abide with. When you are driving, there are rules and regulations you need to keep while driving, your car on the road. Though you need to know, it's not that you buy a car and put it on the road and start driving. You need to get some level of training and get yourself keyed into the rules and regulations before you put your car on the road. What do I need to do? What are the necessary precautions I need to take while driving on the road? There are several rules you need to obey. There are rules and regulations that you must obey while driving on the road, because everybody uses the roads. That is the major. Even if you fly and drop at the airport, you don't jump to your house. You don't use a helicopter to your house. You must move on the road to your houses, to your homes and all that. So you must keep those rules and regulations to ensure that you get to your home. Now, talking about this season that we are in now, there will going to be a lot of high volume of regular traffic, because people will be traveling. Many people will be moving more than ever before on the highways to their communities. People go home, coming from abroad and the rest. No matter if you fly, you must get on the road to get to your destination. So there's high volume of vehicular traffic. It will shock you that Abuja is one of the leading states in Nigeria. Abuja has the best road. Yeah. But as I'm talking to you now, right now, based on data analysis, Abuja has the highest rate of road accident. Do you know why? The better the road, the more the speed.